The 2019 sugar harvest gets underway tomorrow. Barbados to enact whistleblower legislation soon. And in sports, the Universe boss uncertain about his ODI future.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC News Night, starting now.
Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. Well, Barbados sugar harvest will officially start tomorrow. Minister of Agriculture Indar Weir made the announcement during a press conference at the ministry this morning. Sharika Griffith has that story.
Barbadians can expect to see the familiar sight of cane trailers on the road from Monday. But as Minister of Agriculture Indar Weir explains, they won't be filled with freshly cut cane just yet.
Equipment has to be moved from Buckley to the north of the island, and there must also be the weighing of the carriers and the carts that move the sugar cane from the field so that we know what tonnage we're dealing with. So that period of mobilization would take place tomorrow to make sure all of that is taken care of. And then on Tuesday morning, we would take to the fields for harvesting.
After detailed discussions with the Barbados Workers Union, the minister is confident that nothing will hold up the start of this year's crop. Chairman of the Barbados Sugar Industries Limited, Mark Seeley, confirmed that private farmers are also on board to begin harvesting come Tuesday.
We have come to an agreement on the pricing and also the payment for the payment firstly for the 2018 crop, the outstanding payments, and also the pricing for the 2019 crop.
He says government's ability to hold up its bargain will have implications for the 2020 harvest.
Once we get that money, we are very committed to practice the absolute best husbandry, put on all the fertilizers, etc., to maximize the tonnage for 2020. And it will be important in 2020 then that we start in early February. So it'll be another month earlier. And that's the kind of time that we would want to start all of the cane crops in future.
According to Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Agricultural Management Corporation, Leslie Paris, projections put this year's yield at 136,000 tons of cane, but recent drought conditions could result in some variation. Sugar output is projected to be over 9,000 tons. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Thanks, Sharika. Well, people who know of corrupt practices should soon feel safer to come forward and expose them. Attorney General Dale Marshall says government is moving to enact whistleblower legislation, which is expected to go before Parliament in the next 3 to 4 months. The move is expected to safeguard those with evidence of corruption, but who may feel fearful to speak.
Often, because that individual, by being a party, will be exposing him or herself to personal culpability. It is evident that we have to do an assessment of what is in the greater good. And whistleblower legislation, as it is commonly called, or public interest legislation or public interest disclosure legislation, is going to be an important arsenal in trying to move Barbadians away from this attitude they have of not wanting to tell because they fear they will get fired, not wanting to tell because they fear reprisals.
The Attorney General was speaking during a cocktail reception to mark Crime Stoppers Barbados' 10th anniversary. He says figures from the police force show that gun-related homicides have increased from 42 between 1988 and 1998 to 140 in the last decade. The AG revealed that this surge in gun crime was putting considerable strain on the police force.
The amount of resources that are being employed by the Royal Barbados Police Force today in relation to gun crime and the things that are connected to it is a tremendous drain on the resources of the force. without having looked at the figures, I imagine, Deputy Commissioner Boyce, that we probably spend more of our man hours today trying to arrest guns and the things that feed into it, the drugs and so on, than we do all of the other issues.
And Chairman of the Board of Crime Stoppers, Oral Reid, believes there is a connection between Barbados' economic challenges and the current level of crime. He says a similar trend was seen when the entity was formed 10 years ago, immediately after the 2008 global economic recession. Well, Mr. Reid says in spite of Crime Stoppers' anonymous reporting facility, people are still reluctant to share information about crimes. Technological developments are also presenting a significant challenge for the organization.
Social media, while it has its advantages, would have given rise to a more rapid circulation of crime scenes, a rapid circulation of information in respect of illicit activity, and that coupled with our very vigorous local media seem to have given rise to a state of fear among members of our Barbadian community.
As Christians today celebrate the transfiguration of Christ, one cleric who is concerned about the plight of young Barbadian men is praying for their transformation as well. Anglican priest Magistrate Graveney Bannister, in delivering the sermon this morning at St. Peter's Parish Church, said God can change the hearts of all men and that as a small state, Barbados cannot absorb all these murders at such an alarming rate as has been happening.
The actions of these gunmen send shockwaves throughout our society, and these shocks reverberate throughout our island home. What we need is a remarkable transformation in the lives of people. In 2 Chronicles, the 7th chapter and the 14th verse, after Solomon had dedicated the temple, the Lord appeared to him at night and said, I have heard your prayer and has chosen this place for myself as a temple for sacrifices. When I shut up the heavens so that there was no rain, or command the locusts devour the land, or send a plague among the people. And then God paused and he said, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land.
A local pastor has been reacting to criticism that violence is continuing despite prayer events being held. Pastor Courtney Selman said had it not been for prayer, the situation may actually have been much worse. Prayer Warriors International will be hosting the annual Caribbean Day of Prayer tomorrow, March 4th, under the theme March 4th on Your Knees. The Caribbean Day of Prayer gets started at 8:30 tomorrow morning at Jubilee Gardens, and the first prayer point location along the March route will be at Government Headquarters in Bay Street, St. Michael. Residents of St. Joseph are being assured the outpatient clinic in Horse Hill will not be closing. However, regarding repairs to the facility, Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick says the relevant plans are being explored.
What I also said was that the scope of work that is required to bring that facility up to the standard that we all would like cannot be done within this current financial year because we do not have the resources. But with what resources this ministry has, we will try to improve things for residents who utilize that facility. And we are also looking at having some sort of a partnership with private entities so that we can bring some relief to the people of St. Joseph.
Barbados has taken the legislative steps to facilitate the movement of skilled CARICOM nationals included in the expanded list that are able to move freely in the CSME space. Now, under the St. Anne's Declaration on the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, agricultural workers, beauty service practitioners, barbers and security guards will now be considered as skilled nationals. Minister of Home Affairs Edmund Hinkson, during the second reading of the Caribbean Community Amendment Bill 2019, said the categories are expanding with time, and he told Parliament the amended act addresses the issue of contingent rights for dependents as well as spouses.
And obviously you don't want to separate families because family is an institutional background of any society, and therefore what we are doing tonight is very important in the advancement of our regionalism and our ability to attract qualified and skilled CARICOM nationals to Barbados, and to allow, of course, our nationals as well to go to other Caribbean countries to work as well. And this is part of whole globalization.